Now before we fully get into our next section, where we will discuss the characters who derive their powers from their metaphysical status of being a cosmic being or god, we need to address a type of hero whose gifts fall between the lines of being genetic and being metaphysical. This being the realm of demigods, with the most obvious of the examples being Hercules, part mortal, part god. Having both a mortal and a deity for parents often results in the inheritance of some amazing powers, though is often coupled with the sting of a mortal lifespan. Now while this might be seen as a rare occurrence, we'd like to point out the history of mythology's worst offender, Hercules' own father, Zeus. Seriously, this god could never keep it in his pants. Women, men, hell, he'd turn himself into an animal if it meant he might get some action. Needless to say, this would occasionally result in demigod children. In the DC Universe, one example of this would be Cassandra, better known as Cassie, Sandsmark, the second person to be known by the name Wonder Girl. Cassie has a mortal mother, Helena Sandsmark, and the Greek god Zeus for a father, giving her the gifts of superhuman strength, speed, durability, reflexes, and the ability to fly. Though these gifts are technically genetic, having those genes be given to her by a deity puts her partly in the realm of the gods herself. A few more examples of demigods found in the DC Universe are the villains Circe and Lycus, as well as Wonder Woman's mother, Hippolyta, and the sometimes hero, sometimes villain, Lilith Clay. Moving fully into the realm of gods, magic, and religion, our next group of heroes derive their superpowers from these three sources. But before we get into that, we should probably give you a general overview on how religion and cosmic beings/gods work within the DC Universe. First off, it should be said that in the DC Universe, no one religion has precedence over another. In the metaphysical realm of Skyland, we see that basically all the pantheons of ancient gods exist: Greek, Egyptian, Chinese, Celtic, etc., while Judeo-Christian representations of religion can be found in both the heaven and hell realms, where both angels and demons can be found. Some might also argue that the presence, or source, who sometimes takes the form of a portly old gentleman and is said to be the creative force behind all life, is within the DC Universe a representation of a monotheistic god. But overall, DC shies away from saying that one particular religion is correct by saying every religion is correct. All the gods, demons, and their minions exist. This allows them to just have fun with all the amazing concepts and characters that can be derived from the world's religions and mythologies. Now, while most of the religions we just mentioned can be found in our own history and mythology texts, DC has also developed a few that are specific to their own universe. So let's take a look at a couple of these pantheons and other cosmic entities. First up are the denizens of New Genesis, known as the New Gods. These beings, while seeming human, actually have evolved beyond mere mortals due to their close proximity to the source/presence, that all-powerful creative force we just mentioned. These new gods are basically immortal, seeming to stop aging around the appearance of 30, and should they remain uninjured in battle, can live for thousands of years. They also have an impressive amount of superpowers, including the standard super strength, reflexes, and stamina, along with general invulnerability, immunity, and an individual ability that is unique to each god. But while these beings are technically gods, they are not immune to death, as they have a weakness to the substance called radion, and can be killed in battle by a strong enough opponent. Another pantheon found within the DC Universe is the Endless, a group of cosmic siblings: Destiny, Death, Dream, also known as Morpheus, Desire, Destruction, Despair, and Delirium, who was once known as Delight. They hold sway over a couple different realms, including Dream and Nightmare, among others. Like the new gods, these beings are immortal, but can be killed. However, it seems that should they die, a new version of them will come into being. The Endless were part of the Vertigo line of comics, and therefore have only had a few run-ins with the heroes found in the DC Universe. But now that they, along with other Vertigo properties and characters, have been brought under the DC Multiverse banner, we may be seeing more interactions between the Endless and DC heroes in the future. However, interestingly enough, one of the 7 siblings has actually shown up several times in the DC Universe, just not in her usual getup. That, of course, would be the character of Death, who is the physical personification of the cosmic force of death. It has been retconned within the last couple decades that she has taken on many forms in order to carry out her job of ending lives. She shows up as Azraeus, the apocalyptic god of death and member of the 4 Horsemen, as well as the Black Flash, which is the Grim Reaper for speedsters like the Flash. She also appears as the Black Racer, who represents death to the new gods, and as Necron, the Lord of the Unliving, who represents death on the emotional electromagnetic spectrum, which affects the members of the Green Lantern Corps. Now, while she is in these roles, she is often seen as an antagonist, but her persona as one of the Endless is actually that of a very friendly and cheerful young woman. So it's interesting to see these 2 sides of death, one as the villain and one as the bringer of solace. Now, as for the 52 monitors we mentioned in our first video, one for each Earth within the multiverse, not counting the Overmonitor, in recent comic events have not only culled their numbers, but have introduced a new and terrifying cosmic force. In the pages of the book Multiversity, we see Nyx Wotan, supposedly the last monitor within the multiverse, having to gather heroes from all the 52 Earths to help fight against a new horror known as the Gentry. The Gentry is not one person or creature, but a group of seemingly Lovecraftian horrors, working together for the shadowy figure known simply as the Empty Hand. Very little is known about these new villains, but there are strong hints that, at the very least, the Gentry have a strong connection to our own Earth, Earth 33, namely that we may be the ones responsible for the Gentry's creation. Which, with being the world that produces DC Comics, is technically true. Still, the concept is a little hard to wrap your head around. But enough about the Gentry and the Monitors. Let's move on to the heroes and villains affected by these deities, by focusing on the Blessed, Avatars and Elementals, along with the Lords of Order and Chaos.